Here we'll take a quick tour of our new laptops, which are now running Windows 11, and we'll look at some changes and upgrades. So welcome to Windows 11. The first thing that you might notice is that the taskbar looks a little bit different. Things are centered instead of being justified to the left. And if that's going to throw you off, just right-click on your taskbar, go to Taskbar Settings, and scroll down until you see Taskbar Behaviors. And for taskbar alignment, you can get that back to left. And now you'll have that start button again in the left-hand corner. Now let's go back to the taskbar settings. And we're going to turn the search on. And now you'll see that search window is right after the Windows icon. So one perk about moving somewhere new is decorating. So we're going to right-click on our desktop and go to Personalize. And here you can change your themes, and you'll see there's several things you can do in this area, but we're just going to add a new background. So we'll go to Background, and you can browse from Photos, choose a photo that you have, and choose the picture. It's pretty pixelated up here in the preview, so instead of stretching it out to fill my screen, I'm just going to fit it to my screen, choose my background color, and I'm done. So we're going to right-click on our desktop again, and instead of going to Personalize, we're going to Display Settings. Now, if you find the fonts to be a little bit small as you go from app to app, you can change the scale from the recommended 150 to 175 or 200 if you need it. But the nice thing is you're not changing the font size in one program, but it's across all of your programs. And then you can hit the X to exit. While we're at the desktop, let's talk about the camera cover. You're not going to see it because it's not on my screen, but if you look at your laptop, at the very top of your screen, you're going to have a camera. And it might be really hard to see, but if you put your thumb there, there is a little slider so you can cover up your camera when it's not in use. Or if you're using your camera and you have a black screen, you might notice that your cover is actually covering the camera. Now let's take a peek at your quick settings. Click on the speaker icon down below, and now we're in the quick settings menu. Now let's take a peek at our audio. In addition to being able to mute, change your volume, if you click on this caret, you'll see any audio out options that you have. If you are wirelessly connected to a TV, you'll see that listed, as well as if you have speakers or a headset or connecting to a Lightspeed, you can change your audio output at any time. So let's go back and let's look at these icons. You're going to be able to add a few more by clicking on the pencil to edit, and we're going to click Add. Now, two that I want to point out would be Casting and Projection. So if I click on Cast, this would be if I'm wirelessly projecting to something like a screen beam. I'm going to see all the available displays that are near me, but up above you'll see the new shortcut is Windows and the letter K for Cast. Which doesn't quite work, but it's close enough to hopefully remember it, where it used to be the Windows icon and the letter P for project. So that's good to remember, but it also helps that we now have it as a quick key in the quick settings menu. And then projection is Windows P, but that only allows you to toggle between like that duplicate and extend option, where Windows K is for casting. Now let's look at Snap Assistance. So if I click on this Minimize Maximize window, it's simply going to minimize or maximize my current window. But if I hover over it, it gives me some different grid layouts. And depending on the resolution, like if I'm working on a TV or something larger, there's going to be some more options there. But I'm going to hover over this, and let's say I want this 3-pane split. I'm going to choose which one I want this current window to go to. Then it's going to bring up all my other open windows, and I can choose the one that I want on that other half, and anything remaining it's putting down below, and I can click on that, and that's Snap Assistance. Let's take a look at desktops. It's the second icon in the bottom left corner, and if I hover it, they're going to pop up. And what they are, on my one device, I can have multiple desktops, and each desktop is a cluster of applications that I'm using probably for a specific purpose. So for example, I have all my video software ready to go here. This one, let's see, this one is my email and some looking up time off, so I might call that one personal. But this is really handy because it's easy to swap between tasks that need multiple items. So for example, I'm going to make a new desktop. I'm going to call this one period 1, and maybe I want to show them a video. So when I open up this one, I'm going to open up VLC, and so when my students walk in, I can easily go to that desktop, and when they're gone, maybe I needed to look up some items in my email and get to work there, so it's easy to switch between tasks. Now if I click on it instead of hovering, I'll see all my open applications here. So for example, Lightroom, I'm going to click on the middle and I can drag it down to the desktop that I want to use that in, and so I can organize applications that way as well. And that's desktops. Now let's take a look at gestures. Gestures are a way that you're interacting with your trackpad as a type of shortcut. So if we go down to the Windows icon, type in gestures and enter, you're going to see how it's currently set up, although you can change it at any time. So currently, if I'm using 3 fingers or 4 fingers, it's going to act the same if I'm swiping up or down. So swiping up with 3 or 4 fingers brings this task view where I can see my apps at the top, my desktops at the bottom. And if I swipe down with 3 or 4 fingers, it brings me back to my desktop. Now, there's some subtle differences. If I'm swiping with 3 fingers left or right, it's going to change the app that I see. If I'm swiping with 4 fingers left or right, it switches my desktops. You can see you can also tap to open up a search with 3 fingers or notification for 4 fingers. Now, something I like to do is cast often, but I don't really use the notification center, so you can change these at any time. If you click, you'll see there's a list of items, and these are not really ones that I'm interested in, so I can create a custom shortcut and start recording. Once I click start recording, I'm just going to hold down the keys that I want. So I'm going to hold down Windows and the letter K and stop recording. If you remember, that's the shortcut for casting. And now it's on custom, so if I hit Windows K, it brings up casting and I can display. Lastly, let's look at the difference between logging off and shutting down. If I go down to that Windows icon, my start menu, I'm going to click on it. And then here, over my name, if I hover, it does look like a button, and I can click on it, and then I can sign out or lock my device. Now, if I go over to the power button, if I click on it, I have some options to put my device to sleep, shut it down, or restart. And just remember, if your building tech ever asks you to restart your computer or turn it off and on again, that's the one you want to do, not simply a sign out. You do want to do a restart. So that's just a quick overview of Windows 11.